Duke wins. Fatality.
What is up, people? Alright, so let's get into it. So, had a nice little conversation with someone earlier, and it was about this whole geoengineering situation, and it angered me, so decided to impromptu jump on. I got some good information on it. Got some more maps, got some more locations, a lot more information on what's going on. Even more importantly than that, maybe a solution to our carbon gases and fossil fuel thing. Heard about a new technology, or it's not really new, I guess. I guess it'd be new to being applied, but pretty cool. We're gonna get into that. What's up, Nick? How you doing, man? What's up, Left Kung Fu? Thank you for coming in. Let everyone come on through, and then get started. Matter of fact, I want to play. I'm gonna go ahead and play some Legendary Dukes real quick while I get a couple pages set up. Perfect timing. Perfect timing, because I got the hangout ready and everything. So we're gonna be able to do that. All right, so I guess we'll just go ahead and get into it. So I will put the link in the chat in a second, and if someone wants to jump on, jump on. Otherwise, then this may be a short one because I definitely just wanted to get a few of these things out there so everyone knows what's going on. Let me go ahead and pop this up. And let me see. Okay, so one of the conversations that were going on earlier today that got me so angry was someone was talking about, or I was trying to explain basically what ocean fertilization is, and then also I started to go into the issues with it, the real reasons why it's not legal to do. So we're gonna go over that. Well, one of the reasons is, first, I mean, it's the biggest one there is. There's two treaties that very specifically say ocean fertilization is a engineering method, and it's banned. Why? Because one, they have no clue what long-term effect it will have. Why? Because they know it will affect how the climate is. I know how things change and go about, but they don't know how far down the road it will continue to affect. Um, there are things that are happening now that are super red flags. For one, we know that all the algae bloom that the iron is making happen. Not only do they take the CO2 out of the air that gets to the water, but they also put throw off a lot of chemicals. So our oceans are have a lot of acidification into it. So that's definitely a bad one because then it destroys the oxygen, and then marine life can't breathe and live in the water. That's a simple one. The next one is red tides. Anyone who lives on the East Coast right now, like I talked about last time, you are getting. I mean, you just got slammed with one. I think the whole East Coast almost was shut down, the beach wise, because of this red tide. If you don't know what red tide is, it's basically when these algae blooms happen, and it doesn't happen every time, but when it does happen, and they overpopulate a region of the ocean, they give off a toxic, like a very dangerous toxic. It can make people sick, animals sick, marine life extremely sick, kills coral reefs, uh, mammals, the whole nine. It's really bad. Um, so what I started doing is I started looking into the studies about it, and I found almost like a slap in the face study for it because we know for one that this red tide is so dangerous to the human body that it's killed people before. Um, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and play a video um, from the Florida the red tide that just happened in Florida. Let me see. And like I said, it's the worst part about it is they're not they're not telling us about this stuff. I mean, they're telling us about the red tides, but they're not telling us about the ocean fertilization. They're not telling us about all the dumping they've been doing it during it. And then here's the big one that I just found out. One of those treaties, the London Convention, I'm sorry, it's basically the big one. It's the one that restricted all these companies from dumping waste into the ocean. Because, I'm not sure if you knew it, but 40 years ago, 50 years ago, they were dumping everything into the ocean. Trash, oil, everything you can think of. It was an idea for a place to dump their waste. Um, how they got away with it, I have no clue. It's insane to me that they were able to. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of got to go, you got to step back and realize that regardless of whether you believe the things I'm saying, there's too much evidence of people getting sick, treaties being broken. I mean, I read a website that basically explained how they've been doing this for the past 15 years. Basically, because these treaties are set up between the UN and the London Treaty, which the Paris Agreement had everything to do with this as well. Um, all you got to do is go out into international waters, and the UN, who is actually the one supposed to sanction this, uh, they don't patrol. So I mean, what are they gonna do? I mean, they're at free will basically to do whatever they want, whenever they want, and it's sickening. So as I rant, I am trying to find this clip real quick, and so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it was like over in Florida. So here's what I'll do. All right, here we go. Found it. Sorry about that, guys. The next, yeah. So he said they dumped DMT, and yeah, actually, San Francisco was one of the parties that went really hard on it because that they were dumping a lot of stuff out there. I'm not sure if it's as bad as it was. I'm not sure how bad it got, but I know they were played a huge part in and basically trying to get, I think it was 2 other treaties passed, which failed. Unfortunately, they failed because oil companies, fossil fuel companies, all these companies are the reasons for this. Understand that I'm sure at one point in time, these things were actually being worried about. You know, we can't do geoengineering because it'll kill animals. I'm pretty sure it mattered then. But I think once these big the fossil fuel companies found out what they would get out of it, they ran with that shit. They didn't care. All right, perfect. So I got this down. It's going to pop up on the screen real quick. I apologize.
Toxic algae that's harmful to humans is spreading from Florida.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I got to shrink it down. And then, yeah, that's what, okay, so here we go. So this is basically the news report from Florida about these red tides. I was trying to find the edited clip I had, but I can't really find it at the moment, so I do apologize for that, but at least we do have it ready to go. And if you guys hear my son in the background, that's because he is always loud, and that's how he rolls. All right, here we go.
State officials say the Gulf Coast bloom now stretches along 135 miles of Florida coastline. Manuel Bojorquez is in North Miami Beach, where another bloom is washing ashore. Manuel, good morning.
Good morning. This is Haulover Beach, and you can see it is empty right now, though it's typically one of the more popular spots here in South Florida. It was shut down yesterday as officials were trying to keep people away from the water as they wait for this slow-moving menace to pass.
We don't want anybody out here today and be exposed to these toxins.
Miles of pristine beach along Florida's Atlantic coast were deserted, shut down after officials confirmed a toxic red tide bloom just offshore.
I think Mother Nature's getting angry and doing crazy stuff.
I can't even really get close to it without my throat tickles so bad that I'm constantly...
Red tides are caused by a naturally occurring toxic algae that is normally seen on the Gulf Coast. Its spread to the Atlantic coast is believed to be partially caused by agricultural development around Florida's wetlands, leaving stagnant pockets of nutrient-rich water that can then feed the microscopic menace. Dr. Malcolm McFarland is with Florida Atlantic University. Does pollution make the bloom even worse?
So nutrient pollution, things like agricultural runoff and fertilizer runoff from people's lawns, discharge from septic systems and wastewater treatment plants, those are all things that can exacerbate the problem.
The problem has plagued coastal communities. Toxic blooms devastated Florida's fragile aquatic ecosystems, turning thriving waterways into death traps for entire schools of fish and other animals like sea turtles, manatees, and dolphins. Humans and their pets can become seriously ill from breathing the poisonous fumes released when the blooms find their way onto the beach.
You feel like you can't breathe. You got something in your throat.
The East Coast bloom is already impacting businesses.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear how bad it is. So like I was saying, that is just one small factor of what's going on and how dangerous it is. A couple other things I wanted to show you guys is this one is a pretty big deal. This is basically the map from climateViewer.com. Nothing but thanks to him again for coming out with this stuff. It's basically it's the best way I can explain it. It's everything going on. So here we go. Let me go ahead and get this going. There it is. Perfect. Move this up. Perfect. There we go. So basically, like I said, this is a map, obviously of Earth. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start kind of clicking the button so you guys can see how bad it is. The spots you're seeing on there now. Let me know if it's too small. Let me know so I can make it a little bit bigger for you guys. I'll go ahead and do that anyway, just in case. There we go. Go ahead and see it. All right, so basically what we're looking at now, the little black dots on there, are it's regular, weather enhancement, weather modification that goes on throughout the world. Then right now we'll go to so these are the locations that is gonna come up right now. That the added dots will be all the spots that they are capturing the carbon and storing it, whether it be in the deep ocean or in on land. If you haven't heard too much of it, this is basically exactly what I was saying before, as in to it being ocean. It's basically reverse fracking, as far as I consider it, based on the fact that when they frack, they drill in and they pump these gases in and they extract it, and that's what makes these big faults and earthquakes everywhere. But what they're doing with the CO2 is they're drilling about a mile deep, and then they're basically storing the liquid CO2 into the ground for whether it be to store it for long term, so there's no CO2 in the atmosphere, which doesn't really work, or these fossil fuel companies, like I was saying earlier, basically have now started doing this because they figured out that this liquid CO2 would actually make it more oil that in their wells come up. So they're actually getting 60 to 80% more oil from their oil wells, thanks to this new system that they have that uses the carbon dioxide that they capture. So that was my main reason for starting my research on the fact that maybe they're producing CO2 more so they can continue to play out these practices, which makes sense, when I'm, doing the timeline of it. Because, like I said, I found the carbon market. I found out about these, the carbon emission trade scheme, which sounds crazy, but that's exactly what it's called. Let me see here. So, like I said, this will be where this is the carbon capture storage areas. Yep. I'll go ahead and click that off again. Storing. All these spots. California. Get a little closer so I can see it. Close to Bakersfield. Got one right here close. Yeah, it's two near Bakersfield, and I mean I'm just nitpicking of the hundreds. Now remember when I first started on this, they had actually reported that there were only 22 locations in the northern hemisphere that did this. I'm sorry, this is more than 22. There are a couple right here, out in the middle of the ocean. That's that deep water. Another deep water. Let's see, drag it over a little bit. A few more over here. Oh no, those are actually the two I just took over there. But here's one right here, right off the coast of Japan. Now, remember when I said that I felt personally that the typhoon and the earthquake that had happened in Indonesia right here was because of this. Now, there are two deep water ocean carbon capturing, whatever, I hate that word. But remember what I said, it's reverse fracking. So in a basic sense of it, they're creating these fault lines on a place that already has these issues. And so, like I said, I'm not saying that it is due to what's going on, but I mean, it's a little too close for home if you ask me. All these locations. Go ahead and pick on a couple more. Cause like I said, there's a lot more than that. It's just, you just gotta find them now. So let's go ahead and find out where the ocean fertilization is going on. Dots everywhere again. Here's one. The subarctic ecology response to urban or to iron enrichment study. Experiment was a joint research activity, Canada, New Zealand, China, and Japan. Status completed. Released of 490 kilograms of iron on a water patch of 77 kilometers. Got the links right here. I'll go ahead and put those in the. I'll put a couple of these in the description when I get a chance. That's one. Let's go to a couple more and find out. Another one. Experiment was carried out by a private company, Planktos Federation. Company added iron to the northern central Pacific Ocean, 300 miles east of Hawaii's islands, over a distance of 50 kilometers. Remember I told you that magic number that they started using. 200 miles off a coast, and they felt they're safe from basically any government sanction. Okay, let's see what else there is. And then go over to the East Coast. Let's go over by Puerto Rico, see what this one is. The experiment was conducted by L.N. Howard and H. Stone. Oh, sorry guys, my screen is super small, so I can't really see the wording. They floured a 1,000-mile flexible or 1,000-meter flexible plastic tube into the Caribbean off Marcadian from a small boat. Their goal was to demonstrate artificial upwelling due to differences in salinity. Results were inconclusive because of the small boats they were used to strongly affected the waves, so they could not sequester the effects of wave pumping from a. Okay, well, obviously they couldn't do it because the boats were in the way, but this was artificial upwelling, which is now something I got to look up because I had no clue what that was. I mean, they're everywhere. Everywhere you can go, they're doing it somewhere. Iceland, protected. You see, they're doing research protected located. Our project located on Hillshed geothermal power plant nearly. So this is a carbon capture location. Pilot test since 2012. Year 2014, they captured 2,400 million tons of CO2. Can't see the date on that one, but 2016, 4,800 million tons of CO2, and the previous year following, 2,600 million tons of H2S, so hydrogen sulfide. The big problem is those numbers sound large, but the big thing is that basically they're producing more CO2 than they're capturing, which basically makes it pointless. The only companies continuing to do this carbon capture are the fossil fuel companies because they make more money. Then you want to get to the really sick part of it. The government gives them billions of dollars in subsidies. So they actually got paid billions to put these carbon systems in their power plants, and then turn around and use it to recover more oil. Let me see. Okay, so let's see. The reason they're burying it is because they figured if they bury it, then it won't be in the atmosphere at all. The issue with that is they can't guarantee they won't find a leaking point. The same way the chemicals in fracking have to stay safe. In the ground, they can't leak out because they can get into the drinking water. It's the same thing with this carbon. Yeah, so the next one would be Direct. See, now here's the other one. They have one called a direct air capture. I've never seen it. I haven't even found anything on it. But apparently it works. Problem is, again, it doesn't work enough that they're still producing more CO2 than they are capturing it. Let's go into some other, because there's other ones here. Remember we were talking about solar radiation. Solar radiation basically is the idea that they could spray these chemicals and basically block the sun, almost reflecting the sun back into space. Thus meaning cooling the Earth down, because it wouldn't, there's a certain amount of radiation that hits Earth but doesn't leave Earth; it stays. So let's see what they're doing with this. So this is what we're seeing now. Let me see. So this is cloud thinning. From the research I've done on cloud thinning, so what it says here is the Desert Research Institute, in cooperation with the University of Wisconsin, for meteorologist satellite studies, looks into modification of citrus clouds to reduce global warming. So basically, this, instead of doing these studies to make rain, they basically just want clouds. That, so an overcast day, that's what they were looking for, making an overcast day to block these out. The unreal part to me is that this is in basically my neck of the woods, and they actually have, I think it's about 7 solar farms in this area. Matter of fact, there is one on the way to Las Vegas that is massive. When I say massive, people, let me go ahead and show you what massive is. Here it is. Trying to make sure I get the, oh, there it is. Okay. So this is, all right, Nick, I'll talk to you soon. All right, this is not what I was looking for, but let me see. Let me find the right one. Okay, yeah, there it is. So the solar farm I'm looking for is here. Okay, so this is, like I said, pretty close. Probably about an hour and a half from Vegas. I'm trying to find these pictures. I apologize. There it is. We'll just go ahead and play this video real quick and you guys can see it that way.
Largest solar thermal energy generating facility, after the commissioning of the even larger Ivanpur facility in 2014. It consists of 9 solar power plants in California's Mojave Desert, where insolation is among the best available in the United States. SEGSE Euro 2 are located at Daggett, SEGSI Euro 7 are installed at Kramer Junction, and SEGS5 Euro 9 are placed at Harper Lake. NextEra Energy Resources operates and partially owns the plants located at Kramer Junction and Harper Lake. A 10th plant had been in construction and SEGS11 and SEGS12 had been planned by Lowe's Industries, but the developer filed for bankruptcy in 1992, because it was unable to secure construction financing. Plant scale and operations. The plants have a 354 MW net installed capacity. The nameplate capacity, which operating continuously, would deliver the same net power output, coming only from the solar sources around 75 MWE a euro, representing a 21% capacity factor. In addition, the turbines can be utilized at night by burning natural gas. NextEra claims that the solar plants power 232,500 homes and displace 3,800 tons of pollution per year that would have been produced if the electricity had been provided by fossil fuels, such as oil. The facility.
All right, so well, as you guys were listening to that, I found that that solar farm that I was talking about. Here you go. So this is the largest solar farm built. It's here in California. This is also part of this wonderful technology that I will show to you as we speak. What's up, Mark? How you doing? So I literally just heard about this a couple nights ago. So I'm very impressed by it. It is called, and let me know if you guys have heard of this. It's molecular salt reactors. Let's go ahead and look at this. So from what I was told about it, it's basically safer than nuclear power. So whereas in Japan they had the meltdown and it's still an issue, this stuff, I guess you're able to do something, or I guess once it cools, it's no longer reactive. But it has a history. Why we don't use it, it's beyond me. And as far as I was able to read, China is on their way to making one, if not already have. All right, so let's read up on this. So a molten salt reactor is a class of nuclear fusion reactor in which the primary nuclear reactor coolant and or the fuel is molten salt mixture. The MSRs offer multiple advantages over conventional nuclear power plants, although the historical reasons have not been deployed. MSRs used to be expensive, required highly enriched fuel, and had a low power density. In comparison, they are now cleaner, more compact, more affordable, run at a higher temperature, and have better thermodynamic efficiency. And perform in a low atmosphere vapor pressure. The current this concept was first established in 1950. The early aircraft reactor experiment was primarily motivated by small size that the technique offered, while the molten salt reactor experiment was a prototype for a thorium fuel cycle breeder nuclear plant. The increased research into Generation 4 reactor designs renewed interest in the technology. So basically, this was an old technology that they stopped using. I guess it was probably harder to get the chemicals and the natural fuels or the fuels you needed in the 50s compared to now. But even now, we're not using them at all. At least I thought. So there's actually a few being built. Why? Like I said, I only learned about this a couple of days, so I haven't got everything, but I just thought it was crazy to find out about this stuff. Now we're talking a very small setup, really. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I think it was that extra large farm again. Which this is basically, they use this same technology. They're going to be using it for this solar technology and these plants. Fucking throw that. Let's see here. Trying to find the right one to show you guys. Yeah, so basically, this is an assessment for improved molten salt solar tower plants. Where was it in here that I saw where they're building it? And I'm going to put these links in the chat, so after the stream will be there. And you guys will be able to check this out yourself, because I will not be reading all of it. Sorry. I also want to make sure I get watching the chat, because I have a bad habit of not. All right, there we go. Hey, Ann, what's up? Therm reactors make it even better. This is insane. They're essentially boiling water with nuclear waste. Yes, that's what they're doing now. But this technology I'm talking about now with the molten salt, from what I'm reading, is when if a situation like Fukushima happens, they'll actually be able to shut it down. So I mean, in a sense, that part is the good part about it. Let me see if I can find some more stuff on it. Because like I said, I just found this, so I'm in awe of it as well. Let's go ahead and type this in. Molten salt reactor. Go from here to some references. External links. Energy from thorium. Yeah, so basically, I mean, this seems to me something we should have done already. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, like I said, I don't know much about it. I've seen a couple people in the chat that probably know more about it than I do. All right. Yes, pale blue. That was the other thing I was reading about it. This stuff, you can't make any kind of weapon with it. Yeah, so basically, like this is what blows my mind every time I'm doing more research. This all ties in, all of it, because the reason we don't see this type of technology being used, which is obviously cheaper, smarter, and also, I mean, if anybody's seen a nuclear plant before, these nuclear plants are freaking huge. They're on a lot of land. What it was told to me, these things sit on a very small patch of land. Not to mention, like I said, something bad happens, they're able to literally stop it from being radioactive instantly. I don't even think it's radioactive, just dangerous, really, right? Yeah. And then it goes to this pale, like you're right. It goes to the scary part of this. Understand, we're a country that will always be at war, and I'm not saying that just because the government's always going to make us. We have to be. We are locked in to being a war country. Understand, if they cut 25% of military funding to anything else, millions would lose their jobs. Remember, people got to make those bullets. They got to make the gear. They're making the equipment that they drive around, they fly. All that stuff is being used. There are people working every day to produce those things under the guise of they need to live. If they stop, what would they do? Which is the scary part of it. When it comes down to the geoengineering, it's again the money grab. Fossil fuel wants money. The solar bullshit that they're talking, they want to make their money. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Understand, they're not telling us. What's up, one? Yeah, they're not telling us. Hey, by the way, these solar systems we want you to put in your houses. They're not saying the honest. They're not being honest about it. They're not saying, hey, this isn't actual solar. Because if it was actual solar, you would have a place to store the energy that you solarly captured. But what you're doing is you're only making their system, their grid, run smoother, less pressure on them. Now, their big push is these solar farms that you guys saw. They're not going to spend trillions of dollars on these solar farms for nothing. Here's the kicker to it. Those solar farms, they still need fossil fuels to run. I forget the word. I think it was in Obama's second term. I heard about it, but it's a term basically meaning that they represent it as like a greenhouse gas, or as what do you call it? Took my time. Green energy. But what they're not telling us is that green energy is basically needing fossil fuels to be made. The same thing with this carbon capturing. You produce more carbon than you're capturing. So how is that helping anybody besides fossil fuels, right? Now, another issue is we're coming to the point now where I believe their fuck-ups are going to be coming to a light. Understand that when I started researching weather modification, which is nothing compared to geo, this is local, no one wanted to hear it. Now, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about the Glovers who think everything we say is a conspiracy theory that will never happen. Now, they understand weather modification is real. It's here. Our cities are doing it. They're contracting companies. Understand, if you're just hearing about weather modification, it is beyond $1 million. It's a $1 billion industry now. Counties, states, cities, districts, they contract companies to make it rain, to suppress hail. It's as real as it gets. It's not changing. It's not fake. It's not changing anything. All right, so get this off the screen real quick. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the big picture of things, the issue isn't what they're doing, honestly, because I think they got their fingers up their ass pretty deep. They don't know what to do. They figured that one white lie would be just one. And I'm pretty sure, 2 became 5. 5 became 20. 20 became 40. And now we're in this situation where they're having to bullshit us. Like, I watch these council meetings, I read these treaties, and they're pretty clear. Geoengineering is illegal. And then you look at the council meetings and they're like, what are you talking about? We don't do geoengineering. We wouldn't do that. It's illegal. But they are. What up, Rick? I mean, and here's the thing that really aggravates me. I know for a fact these people that basically just want to argue these things with me are doing it only because I'm a flat earther. It has nothing to do with reality. Why? Because they don't do research. They're not willing to listen. They just want their point to be right over a flat earther's period. And it's a joke to me. It's a fucking joke. Now, I'm not going to lie. There are flat earthers who go so far beyond the truth that it makes it look really bad. And it sucks because I put my fucking everything into getting this information out to you guys, and hearing they're spraying because they want to spray robots to get into our brains. No, I don't. Why wouldn't they just do that when we were born? Why wouldn't they just do that some other time? It doesn't make sense. What's up, P Mars? Be good, please, my friend. Basically, like you're saying, chemtrails. Okay, let's just talk weather modification. They spray silver iodine in the air to produce clouds. Understand, people, that is chemtrailing. That's a chemical they're spraying in the sky. I get it, though. I get that all these nanobot robots and all this cyborgish take over your mind crap has completely screwed that over. I can't use chemtrails because instantly people want to assume that I'm one of them. But it's not what it is. What's up, Q? Yeah, it seems to be oddly going around where people are just getting banned from everywhere. It's kind of odd. But yeah, it's to me, again, I try to express the fact that I don't come from what I call the nutter zone. I completely understand that when I'm doing my research, I can't go too deep into these fantasy ideas. So I find as much as I can that is actually happening. So like I said, weather modification, it's chemtrailing. I'm sorry if you don't like that word. It is tough. You talk about this geoengineering, they don't know the long-term effects, but we see a lot of shit happening now. Like I was saying before, the red tides. We know right off the bat that from the time we have an idea of them starting to do ocean fertilization till now, we have seen a flux in these red tides that are around. We understand that all the red tides bring the acidification of the ocean. We know that then produces less oxygen, and we know what that means for the mammals that are in the water, right? You know what? Let me play another video. It's another video that, see, here's the other problem. A lot of these informational videos that are coming out now, it's kind of like, I don't know whether they're trying to help or trying to ease the bullshit. You know what I mean? They talk a lot of good stuff, but it's that kiddie, treat it with like a pillow type shit situation where they're not telling exactly how it is when it needs to be told. Go ahead and play that up real quick. I'll probably end up stopping it every once in a while, saying something because it irritates me when they do it. The hell just happened?
Carbon sink on the planet, storing around 50 times as much greenhouse gas as the atmosphere. To date, they and their highly complex ecosystems have not been fully explored. Some climate scientists are now proposing that global warming could be halted by means of geoengineering interventions in the oceans. Geoengineering is a term that covers large-scale, targeted interventions in the Earth's atmosphere, the oceans, and the biosphere. There are two basic directions that potential manipulation of the climate could take. Solar radiation management involves activities that reflect the sun's rays back into space so that the climate heats up less. Carbon dioxide removal involves activities whereby the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide is separated out from the atmosphere. In regard to the second option, climate scientists have proposed that the oceans could be used to absorb and store even more carbon dioxide than they already do. One such technology for carbon dioxide removal is so-called ocean fertilization. Under this plan, many thousands of tons of iron filings or other nutrients would be dumped in the oceans each year to stimulate the growth of plankton. These microscopic algae would then bind CO2 from the atmosphere and eventually die and sink to the bottom of the sea, thus taking CO2 out of circulation. In order to significantly influence the climate, huge areas would have to be fertilized, up to a quarter of the oceans. The impact of sowing artificial nutrient on such an industrial scale cannot be foreseen or quantified. That is because the plankton do not simply sink to the bottom of the sea, but are also ingested by other marine animals, and so the CO2 ends up in the atmosphere again via the food chain. There's also the danger of producing toxic algal blooms. Fertilization is intended to cause a massive growth of algae, but this is likely to deplete the supply of oxygen near the surface, leading to a mass extinction of fish. This would threaten the livelihood of fishermen and coastal communities that are dependent on an intact marine ecosystem. Another proposal for harnessing the oceans to control global warming is solar radiation management. Because the surface of the oceans is dark, it reflects much less sunlight than, for example, snow and ice. Consequently, the oceans absorb more heat energy, which they then release into the atmosphere. The idea behind solar radiation management is to increase the reflective capacity of the seas. One proposed solution involves distributing tiny light-reflecting plastic beads or foam on the sea or on the ice surface. The artificial brightening would then ensure that less solar energy is stored in the ocean. The downside is that, if solar radiation were to be reflected from the surface, all ocean-dwelling life forms would have to make do with less sunlight. The technological solution to a man-made problem would thus cause significant additional stress to marine organisms. Furthermore, such an artificial layer would diminish the oxygen supply in the surface water. Unlike other geoengineering technologies, marine geoengineering already has a regulatory framework. It is subject to the Convention on the Prevention of Marine Pollution by Dumping of Waste and Other Matter, London Protocol 1996. Ocean fertilization is specifically prohibited. Despite the above regulations, new experiments continue to be announced and partially implemented, for example under the guise of expanding local fish stocks for commercial purposes. The oceans are indispensable to life on this planet. They provide oxygen, regulate the climate, and are a source of food and income for millions of people. They are not a place for dumping carbon dioxide and other man-made waste, but rather a complex ecosystem that we have the duty to protect.
Yeah, so like I said, it gives good information, but it's not enough, in my opinion. To me, it kind of seems too cookie cutter, too not that big of a deal, but it's huge, big deal. One of the biggest things that I fear is going to happen is basically, like I said, I honestly believe that the fossil fuel companies have zero reason to cut down the CO2 levels. Understand that this is what is crazy to me. Why would fossil fuel companies spend millions? What's up, Kaiser? Or is this P Mars with a fake account?
Give me a second.
All right, no worries. I mean, cool. How you been, actually? Shit. What's up, P Mars?
Yo.
Yeah. So, you know anything about this carbon stuff? Because, like I said, I've been doing a lot of research on it, and finding people that even knew it existed it's hard to find.
What are we talking about? Carbon what?
It's called carbon and capture. It's basically it's either from ocean fertilization from these algae blooms, or a lot of the new power plants are putting these scrubbers in that capture CO2, which they then store in the ground and or use to recover more oil.
Okay. All right. There's a couple of things you're talking about here. Number one, I have to disclaimer this. Biology and chemistry, I absolutely suck ass at. I'm not going to even bother to try to make coherent arguments about that. If I try to, let me better that if I try to if I find myself in an argument where I know I don't have the intellectual property to even counter, I'm not going to try. So I'll give you. I'm trying to concede to that for you. Number two.
Go ahead.
No, number two. I do know about a lot of facilities reintroducing carbon back into the ground to reduce CO2 levels in the atmosphere, and I think you might be misrepresenting that with something else.
What do you mean? Because I'm because there's two different parts of it. There's either the carbon capture, where they want to just store it in the ground, and then there's also the carbon sequestering, where they're actually using it to recover more oil.
Okay, the second part that you said, I honestly know nothing about. The first part about carbon capture, I have seen some articles and some documentaries and some some peer review about what you're talking about, and it's not what you're claiming there. The carbon capture, as far as putting the carbon back on the ground, is basically a form of recycling carbon back into the ground so it does not get re-emitted into the atmosphere. In other words, it's something that prevents or retains or retards global warming.
100%. No, that's exactly what it is. Maybe I didn't say it right, but basically that's the issue with that is that there's no regulations, there's no safeguard to it leaking out of these spots.
Well, no, but it's not in science. It's something that human beings, us as human beings, are doing our very best to do to basically artificially um, prevent global warming, and which is not a that's not a bad thing.
Oh, no. Okay, so here's why I presented it as bad, because the reason it's not mainstream is because it still produces more CO2 than they are actually capturing.
Okay. Um. Actually, I don't know of any evidence to the contrary of that, because what you're talking about are basically filtration systems that just accept the flow of the CO2 without any kind of power consumption to do so. I don't.
Oh
You're
well,
gonna have to cite that, because I don't.
okay, yeah, no, I can do that. It's easy. So, for instance, I got to do it in the Hangout. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Look, there's no time limit here. Yeah, take your time, dude. I'm not rushing anything.
I don't believe in global warming, climate change.
Well, here's the
I don't
kicker.
even think.
Here's the weird thing. So, there's a part that says it is happening, but then at the same time, how can you how can you say that after only 150 years, but not count the billions of years we've had? I mean, we've had, ice ages, we've had meltdowns. I mean, this shit does happen.
Are you asking PMARS that?
No, I'm just saying that in general because he was saying he doesn't believe in it, and I kind of am in the same boat where I don't really know if it's something that you can purely say is us.
Well, yeah, I agree. For one, I don't even think they've proven that if the climate warms, I don't. It's a necessarily a bad thing because if we get a warmer climate, then that'll open up farmland in areas like Canada. Can farm food in Canada with warmer climate. You know, like it's not. I don't even think they've proven that if the globe warms, it's necessarily bad for us.
Well, we never had a 3-degree increase for them to say if it would or not. Because understand, like, for the people that are in the chat or going to be listening, the idea that this 3 degrees is going to be catastrophic, I'm not really sure that it will be. I mean, I think there's other technologies that they need to be looking into to prepare for that rather than try to stop it. Because realistically, even if all this, like, oh, this is what I was saying before, the way it is, they plan for this to work, if it works, by 2030, I think it is, for emissions to be good to go. The problem is the only way to actually change the CO2 levels to a positive where we're at right now is we'd have to be in the negative carbon production or emissions, which is impossible. I'm not sure which one of it you guys is, but you got someone is echoing.
It might be me.
I was trying to not.
It's you, Kaiser. It's not me because I was muted and I have headphones.
I apologize. My bad.
No worries. I'm trying to right now. I'm trying to find those documents that so I can share those with you real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. But no, it's from so the power plants that are doing this. I mean, I can show you guys all of those right now. But
When you say power plants, you're talking about coal-producing power plants,
yes,
correct?
yes. I got one up right now. I'm about to share it. So this one.
Volcanoes produce more CO2 than humans do. Like,
I want to get into this, PMARS. Sean, see, this is the incredibly strange and incredible thing about climate change. That I have to point this out. And Sean, I'm gonna do you a favor here too. I'm not gonna be bashing at all, but this is something that is incredibly bipartisan because here's the problem with climate change policies. Neither party really has any true interest in actually putting forth the money and effort to make a true change.
Oh, there's no reason for the coal companies. It'd be ridiculous for them to be part of this.
It would be, yeah.
Well, no, because
it literally does. Oh, go ahead.
Because I think when you view it like that, you're like, people have the mentality that these companies, all they care about is making money, and I think there's something more than just money. These corporations, it's more about power and like these agendas. And these are like, we're dealing with like rich families that are pushing agendas, and like sometimes they don't care about money because they have all the money in the world, and it's more about power over people and pushing an agenda rather than making money. And I think to just view it as like, oh, all they want to do is make money is kind of just not really you're looking at the trees instead of the forest type of a thing.
Well, but you also got to remember, the more money you have, the more power they feel they have as well, though.
Have either of you ever thought about the people, the people that they're employing?
100%.
Employees, that I believe has the greatest impact is their employees, and that is the way. That is the heart of the.
Yeah, but understand.
It would.
But you got to remember, if you look at these plants from 50, 60 years ago till now, there are far less people working them because they've downsized people and made the technology more reliable. The reason I was saying that this is ridiculous is because you guys can see the what I'm sharing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just the one you're looking at right now, the Kemper County coal carbon capture site. This place right here is the most expensive power plant ever built, and it's still not even open. Now, here's the reason I don't think that it all just seems that not make sense. If supposedly we're pushing towards a zero emissions world, these guys are going to be out of business. So why would they go along with this? So that means in 20 years they know they're going to be out of business. They're doing it because they can recover 60 to 80% more oil doing this carbon storage system.
Well, the real question is, what is the alternative? What would put them out of business currently? With what we currently have, what would put them out of business?
Nothing will. We've already established that even a solar, even if we went completely solar, the solar farms, they still need fossil fuels to run. They haven't even implemented actual solar energy to the people. They say they do, but it's not.
Look, hey, Sean, I just got a word out that that viewers are having trouble seeing what's presented. I don't know if it's lag time. I'm seeing that it is being presented, but for some reason, viewers that are
because he doesn't want to get porn.
Yeah, I don't have. Or yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the I'll put it on my OBS window right now. Sorry guys. No, I'm being safe about it.
Look, Mars.
No, definitely, I don't want you to get porn bombed because I'm gonna totally get blamed. So I don't want that to fucking happen.
No, realistically, I'm not worried about it.
I swear, if you do something crazy, I'm gonna abandon your server. Just don't.
No, I can tell you guys right now, it can't happen because I have OBS, and if anything, I would love to prove to the damn people to get fucking OBS and stop bullshitting so they don't have to worry.
Look, it's okay, Sean. It's okay. I'm just don't take it.
Honestly, I stream my Discord channel sometimes, and I'll put like a 30-second delay just in case someone comes into my Discord and puts porn in my chat room, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's a thing that's like in the entire flat Earth community, and it affects everyone, not just flat earthers. Like baller. I seen Sean Hufford got porn bombed, and that guy's a piece of shit. But I don't agree with that porn bombing shit. I think.
And here's the thing. I actually had very, very credible source tell me P-Mars does not porn bomb. And trust me, the person that said it, they don't get along at all.
Sean, I'm gonna tell you this. Usually, people that get porn bombed probably deserve it. I'm not advocating for
That's
porn
not
bombing,
true at all.
But all right, that's just me being a troll. All right, I was being facetious. I
Because
really was. I was
realistically,
being
I
facetious.
being
Well, it's
porn
kind
bombed
of
is
annoying,
ridiculous.
like with this Kavanaugh thing. Like you get accused of something, right, and then everyone just assumes you're guilty. Like I've been accused of porn bombing, and everyone will just assume with no evidence that I've done it. You know.
Put it this way, I'm in awe of the fact that it's worked out the way it has, and I'm happy that it has because, as most people know, there is a clone of me who does most of the porn bombing.
Yeah.
I very rarely have to actually defend myself, but for the most part, I don't have to, and I am so fucking grateful for that part. But in that sense, is why what you said, Kaiser, is actually wrong. I think it's the people who are doing it. I don't know if they think all of a sudden it's going to be a huge turnaround and everyone's going to think it's me. But the realization is the people that know me know I'm not doing it, so it's kind of pointless.
Wait. That's not what I was advocating.
There's actually
no,
that's
you
not
just
what I was
just in the fact that you said that people that get porn bombed probably deserve it. I don't deserve it.
Oh no! You know what? Yeah, I was saying the general board. I was actually thinking about some things in my
Yeah, these guys make clone accounts. Like this guy even had. I was on Nathan Oakley's one time, and I joined the panel, and this guy had a clone account of me. It was cloned. Like he had me on a webcam that he had saved from another hangout, and he was playing like a video, so it looked like my webcam was on. Like that's how far that guy went owning my account. Like he was showing fake webcam footage of me.
And look, P. Morris, I have to tell Sean, look, you're right. You actually showed me wrong. When I'm proven wrong, I concede. Yeah, you're right. I was wrong for that. Was a very foolish statement I said. I retract. I'm wrong for that.
Well, the reality of it is I actually don't mind you guys being here, and I also don't mind my clone doing what it does, and here's why. Because for a year now, I have been telling people to get OBS. I've been telling people, if you're gonna put people on your panels, check their fucking content before you invite them into your fucking panel.
Wait, what's OBS?
OBS is a broadcast service. It's how you're on a hangout. People can hear you but not see you. I can right now. This hangout is not live. If I got kicked out of this hangout, you guys would be sitting in a hangout by yourselves.
Right. I do that. I stream with OBS too. So yeah, I know.
It's Kaiser. It's the difference between being safe and being stupid, as far as I'm concerned.
If you're doing a hangout without OBS and you're inviting people into your panel, you're kind of asking to get porn bombed, and then when it happens, they kind of use it as like, oh look, I got porn bombed because I'm telling the truth. You know, it's like, well, you pretty much set yourself up for it. You know, I don't know.
It's literally right now. Look, Kaiser, the only possible way I could get porn bombed right now is if I was just stupid as fuck, and then at that point, I deserve to be porn bombed right now. If I got porn bombed, I deserve it, if it worked, because I'm in full control of what is being broadcast.
Dude, you guys are teaching me, man. I will never reject practical information. It's incredible.
But yeah, I've never like I don't like it when people's get deplatformed. Like I think even if I disagree with you, I think you should be allowed to say whatever you want to say. So like I've never ever porn bombed. I've sniped a panel very rarely. I've done that, but like I'm not that bad of a guy that I get made like all these rumors get spread, and it's kind of annoying because people just believe the rumors, and then how can I like change their mind? You know, it's like,
well, okay, P-Mar, we've had this conversation. The fact that you get triggered the way you do is why people assume you would porn bomb them.
I can understand that, especially like Dan W had a hangout recently where I like flipped out on Antonio, and then it got porn bombed right after, and I understand, like it totally looks like I porn. There's no doubt I didn't. But
see, here's the thing.
yeah, I don't know.
Like for
I
instance,
have anger
Brenda.
issues, so.
Brenda will. She honestly, she plays victim when she does it. 100%. Like I only did it because flat earthers do this. I'm like, you're fucking full of shit. Brenda, she's never allowed on my panel. She has to pay me $50 to be on my panel. I told her that. I said, if you ever want to be on my panel, you have to send me $50 to my PayPal account, and then I'll let you on my panel. Because she's the worst.
Dude, speaking of PayPal, man, I mean, is there any way you can be anonymous on PayPal payments nowadays? I mean, like, I have to completely, and when I say complete, I mean completely fucking dox myself on PayPal now. Is there a way around that?
I have no clue. I don't have to put my name in it.
I don't know what the fuck. It's like I have to literally like dox my entire self to even have a PayPal account.
Well, look, Kaiser, I can't be sympathetic with you because I've actually probably been porn bombed about 20 times now. So, or not porn bombed, I'm sorry, doxed about 20 times now. So I have no sympathy for doxed.
I've been doxed majorly only once, but I mean, like whoever did it did their homework. You actually can dox not only my selfie but my full name if you know what you're doing. I've been on the internet for a very very long time, like pre 2000. So you go back far enough. If you know what you're doing, you're gonna dox me pretty well. But it's the whole point of PayPal. It's like when I went in there, I haven't I used PayPal years back, and I went years without using it. And when I came back a couple of months ago to sell some stuff, I was like, wait a minute, I gotta dox that shit. I'm like, it really got me a little nervous.
But see, also the thing is if you're giving or receiving money, you're almost willing to put yourself out there. I guess you can't really complain about it.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're giving and receiving money, isn't your credit card number efficient enough? I mean, what do I have to dox my entire full name too? On a sub, it's like it requires now that you have to dox your full name on a subdomain and it matching your credit card, the name on your credit card. It's like you have to publicize your credit information to get information on PayPal, to get payments on PayPal now.
Well, you want to know how really bad it is. So I had to copyright strike somebody because they were doing one of those little slander videos. They fucking YouTube. They countered my counter, and then they got the video put back up. And now check this out. In doing that, they sent me all that person's information, every bit of it, name, address, phone numbers.
Yeah, you have to. That's one of the prerequisites of a DMCA.
Yes.
Everyone gets fully doxxed in a DMCA.
Yeah. So everybody remember this: if you're going to flag a channel, be willing to put your shit out there because YouTube will put your shit out there.
Now, Red's actually got around this. Yeah, he actually did a DMCA on somebody, but used another person's information. Which, I mean, yeah, it is technically illegal, but you know what? I'm a hack. I'm a bona fide old school hacker, so I can't give him any ill will from doing that.
Well, see, the thing is, to me, it doesn't matter whether you try to be fair, or you try to go honestly, or you go the troll way. YouTube doesn't care. YouTube doesn't YouTube literally does not have a division that has anything to do with hacking, trolling, sniping, porn. They have nobody, no personnel.
Correct. It's pure. It's Wild Wild West. It really is. It's whatever person in charge likes, what they like and don't like. That's what's happening.
Oh, you know about the sub rules, right? If you have over 100,000 subs, you can kick channels off.
It's not only that. If you have over 10,000 subs, and you're not in the liking of what's preferred in YouTube, you're gonna get wasted.
Oh yeah, They cut your bandwidths. They cut your notifications off. Like people don't like people think like a lot of flat earthers are just bullshitting when they're like, oh, they're fucking with my bandwidth. No, no, no. They it may not even be a person. They have algorithms that just fuck with that just bounce fucking bandwidths. The people with over 100,000 subs, trust me, they have zero internet issues. Period.
You're kidding me, right? With about the flat earthers being cut their bandwidth, their bandwidth, if as far as I'm concerned, is being increased.
No, not even close.
Well, I haven't seen evidence otherwise.
Watch one. You'll see it cutting it out nonstop.
I'm an old school conspiracy theorist. I remember back in the day, people would say shit like, "Oh, the elite really fucked up by giving us the internet," and I just thought it was funny because like the internet is the perfect spy tool. Like they've been able to collect all this statistical and analytical data on us that it's helped them profile us and our psychology, so they understand us better. And here's something that people don't understand is the way to control people in a free society is basically being able to predict how they will react to given stimuli. And so the better psychological profiles on us, which is what the internet has provided, gives them better understanding of how to control us because we become more predictable. And one of the ways to thwart this is to try to be unpredictable. So
The thing is it's not me saying something. It's the narrative of a group. So what I'm talking about now, it's not very talked about. So I'm probably a nobody still. But let's say directly from me, thousands of people started talking about this. They would eventually start going backtracking. And again, I'm not saying that that will ever happen. I'm just saying that's how it happens when people start getting targeted.
I think they
Look,
don't.
wait.
Yeah.
Look, what you both are talking about, I'm really a fan of. Really, what you both are talking about is just competitive debating. It is competition. It's not. It boils down to a
Talking about mad conspiracies, Kaiser.
right. It's just it boils down to just competition. And look, capitalism is the bitch and the bane and the ruler and just the decider.
Exist.
Yeah, but you got that's the point. That's the point. You got to make it exist.
But here's the thing. So what they want is exactly what you just said, Kaiser. The problem they would have with me is that I refuse to go to that fucking, like I said earlier, that nutter land. That land where shit just becomes so fucking unreal that no one wants to listen to it anymore. I refuse to go there. So, like, for a minute ago, you were like, I need some citations on this. Trust me, man. I have enough. I'm down a screen, so it's kind of hard to share everything, but I have everything. Everything I'm saying about geoengineering is facts that I've read and facts that I have. It's not just I thinks.
You for a second.
Let me say something.
Look, wait, go ahead.
Okay, so I agree with Sean. You said earlier like they don't really care about you because you're like not big, you're nobody, right? And I kind of agree with that. The scary thing is like the people that are someone they do care about, and when you look at this, like to bring it back to climate change, the climate change debate, you look at a guy like Michael Crichton, who was famous for writing novels like Jurassic Park and etc. Congo, and he was very adamantly against this whole climate change, global warming thing, and he was going out giving lectures and speeches and debates, and he was doing a really good job. There's a lecture or speech he gave called "Aliens Cause Global Warming" that I recommend people check out. I think it's very interesting. And his last book, State of Fear, was about how global warming is shit. And I think it's like they don't care about like nobodies, like peasants like me and you. We can say whatever the fuck we want. But if someone who's been made a celebrity in the system, someone who's an academic, someone who has credibility, like Michael Crichton, if they speak out against the agenda, they fucking murdered them. And then like right after that State of Fear book he published, which was anti-climate change, he miraculously got this fast acting cancer and he died.
Yeah, see, and
You know,
I actually, so I look, yeah, yeah,
Can I say a counter? Can I say a
uh,
counter to that?
go ahead, go ahead.
Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that climate change and global warming is a real issue. The problem isn't the fact that it's real or not. The problem is that no uh, government has any kind of motivation to actually engage in tackling the problem. It's in the one and the ones in the ones that are publicized are fake. Take the Paris Accord for example.
Oh God,
The
yeah,
Paris Accord is one big act of super fraud.
yeah.
It's what
Trump,
it was. And
Trump got out of it. He's trying to do is stronghold fucking China.
yeah, oh yeah, it is. It's super fraud. There's no question that climate change is happening. And it is a human. A lot of it is human developed. I mean, we are the cause of it. There's no doubt about that. The real problem is the practical application of solution, and I don't see any. I just don't. Nobody sees any. Like every government wants to just play like, okay, let's play it like hot potato. Who's gonna take care of it? Let's play it like hot potato. That's the most ridiculous, just absolute asinine, stupid way to like. Look, the U.S. is dependent on 2 million barrels of oil a day. We were dependent on 2 million barrels of oil in 2012. We were dependent on 2 million barrels of oil in 2013. Our demand for oil, at least in the U.S., has not changed and will not change. In fact, it will actually increase because our population is increasing. Nothing's going to change that except for a practical solution. And if and neither party, the Republican nor Democrat, are actually serious about a actual solution for climate change. It's just a political facade.
Yeah,
And I mean,
that's why all these ideas of geoengineering and solar radiation. That's all just like fix it now, make it look like we're doing something.
exactly. Yeah, it does it does help, but that you don't. It doesn't help when it's like putting a band-aid on a shark bite.
Yeah, that's all they're doing. Yeah, nothing they're gonna do is gonna prefer. Like, let's get one thing straight. Nothing that it can be done. Well, our generation, our children's fucking grandchildren, or their grandchildren will really take effect of. This is not a situation that's happening right now at all. It's not happening right now. It's not going to affect us or our great 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 grandkids. It's not going to happen. Now, they may figure something out to really cut down on fossil fuels, but let's keep it real. That's not going to happen. Too much money involved, too much power involved. It's not going to happen.
they just need enough propaganda. Okay, so the latest Predator movie, they had climate change was part of the plot, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I think climate change is propaganda, and one of the reasons I think this is I cite a source. There's a book put out by a United Nations think tank called the Club of Rome. They put out this book called The First Global Revolution. And on top of the Predator movie, there's just all this propaganda in movies to make, oh, man is bad and nature is good and all this crap, and man is destroying nature, and we're overpopulated and all this stuff. So here's a quote from this book put out by the Club of Rome, The First Global Revolution. It says, because of the sudden absence of traditional enemies, new enemies must be identified. In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine, and the like would fit the bill. All these dangers are caused by human intervention, and it's only through changed attitudes and behavior that they can be overcome. The real enemy then is humanity itself. And I think that's what it's about. Change attitudes change attitudes and behavior of humanity. Like they want to control our attitudes and the way we behave, and they're just going to lie to us with this bullshit climate change to get us to change how we live our lives, and it's all based on a lie, in my opinion, to get more power for these rich motherfuckers.
Well,
go ahead. I'm just trying to figure out how more abstract they can make it. It's pathetic.
Well, realistically, I have no idea why they never did. I would almost be just fine with this power greed grab if they were honest about it. I mean, we all know it's happening, and the only issue we're really having is the transparency in it.
See, I've talked to people like who did I talk to about this? Maybe was it Rumpus? No, it wasn't Rumpus. Oh, it was George.
I've got to admit, like Rumpus, I have lost all respect for him.
Yeah.
Because of the level of abuse he like allows like some masochist at Nathan Oakley's expense. I have lost all respect.
See, I don't get that. Why do you, okay? First of all, I don't get why any Globers go there. For one. Second of all, I personally, I don't listen to him. I'm worried. He has that I'm gonna kill someone eventually look.
Oh yeah, I go there to get banned. Every time I go there is to get banned. I'll find out I get unbanned, so I'll go back over there to get banned again.
Yeah, Chris. I'm not gonna say which Chris, but you know who I'm talking about. He religiously goes there to do that. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't get this whole being a troll thing. It doesn't make sense. Like the effort to make accounts and then to get banned. Like, how is that fun? I like to say what I think.
It's not fun. It's not fun. But I mean, the thing is, what else can you do when you're frustrated about the fact that somebody is making money on the internet for being a 21st century version of Robert Tilton?
Now here's the thing. Okay. You may not. Hang on. You may not. Yes. You hang on. You may not go into his chat and type it up, and you may not give him money, but I know you click on his link to make sure he's on, see who's on his panel, to get that link to the Hangout, right?
Actually, no, I didn't. I usually ignore all the links on Discord and stuff, and just that one, I'm like, okay, fuck, I'll find. Eventually, I get enough of them where I'm like, okay, let's see if I'm still in there. If I'm still banned, I'll leave. If not, I'm gonna try to get banned again. And the thing is, I don't get banned for nothing. I make sure I make the most rational, controversial, practical, and the most informative post I can to get banned.
Yeah, but see, the thing is you then no longer have any credibility of knowing what you're talking about.
I don't care. It's fucking Nathan Oakley.
Okay. You do really okay, and I'm 100% positive this happened for me when I first started. Most of my views came from trolls. You understand that any contact with his YouTube, you help him get money.
Yeah,
no. And here's the other thing.
I've already been labeled the one that got him over 8,000.
And here's the thing: the only people that are laughing about it are Globers. You understand that all the flat earthers that watch that, just it helps Nathan that you guys go there and do that.
I know, and You're right. Like I said, I'm the one that is being recognized for getting him over 8,000 subscriptions. So I screwed up there. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, like I said, I mean, I have these freaking trolls that follow me around, and dox me all the time, post my pictures in every fucking Discord, and to the point where it doesn't even look like they're doxing me. It just looks creepy as fuck. Like they look creepy. Like, dude, do you sit at home editing just pictures of me?
That's all it is.
It doesn't. I don't care anymore. So obviously, what are they doing now? All they're doing is making my face and my name relevant again. Thank you guys, and I know they're listening.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
All right, don't pee on the seat.
No. Standing up, I promise. Right.
It's kind of like the Howard Stern effect with Nathan Oakley. Like a lot of people are tuning in because they hate him.
Yep, because of that.
And yeah,
Because I don't personally,
I
I don't listen to that. Like, I'm cool with Ranny, but that's because like he kind of opened my eyes to chemtrail like when I first got here. But it was like I don't listen to him. I have my views on flat Earth are so different. I don't watch 90% of flat earthers, and I give them respect because they give me respect. I don't see why it can't be that way with everyone else, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, I don't know. I like. I guess I've given up on like thinking. I'm kind of disappointed in humanity. Like if I almost want to be lied to, they want to be conned and all that stuff, and then like if you try and be honest and try and be a good person, you get like crapped on, and everyone calls you a porn bomber.
See,
You know what
look, I'm not gonna lie.
saying?
I sometimes you do have some good shit to hear. You say stuff that you think, so it's okay. But and I make it clear to you, I don't bullshit you at all, P. Mars. It's just that trigger part. The second you get triggered, it's just I want no part of you. Other than that, you're cool. I don't really have a problem with you, especially honestly because I was told by who I was told by that you do not porn bomb people. And I'm sorry, people. The person that told me this would be the last person to tell me this. So that's how I know. Now, I'm not saying I know all his acts, but I know my situation and named a few others were definitely not P. Mars this time. That's just all there is to it. And I can't, I'm not going to bullshit it. I have no reason to bullshit it at all.
I mean, I do have anger issues, and I'm trying to work on that. But I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to keep you cool, and
because I'm working with Lewis right now. Because Lewis he's cool, but he doesn't realize he's what I call grown up racist. He's not racist, but he was brought up racist. so like he has those thoughts, but he's not. He does not out to be mean to different races.
Are you black?
Lewis, no. I gotta say about Lewis. Lewis is probably the most confused, person I've ever. He's the most confused, smartest. He's the smart guy, but dude, he is confused as hell. Dude, some of the stuff he brings up is very practical, but other stuff he brings up is like, what were you thinking?
Oh well, just the pure fact that he's convinced he's going to get Debbie or chemo to listen. Wow.
Oh no, he doesn't. Right? He just doesn't want to get Debbie to listen. Dude, he's literally going after the pants of these female fucktards. He wants dude, really that sure level of expectation.
Oh, trust me, you'd be surprised how many of you guys have this fixation with flat Earth girls. I'm telling you right now, a lot of you guys, and ones that talk a lot of shit too.
The person I've ever known that's not in the flat Earth community. Let's like that is Lewis.
Well, that's
the only one I know of.
That's because he got outed. He did that. He ended up being public with that shit.
Are you being a Lewis apologist now?
I like Lewis. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I do too. I do too.
But just saying. That's just what it is. Trust me. There are plenty of you guys out there, Globers. I'm talking, who talk mad shit about flat Earth, but still try to get in their pants.
I know the difference between a facetious or catcalling and actually being for real and stuff. And the only person I know that's ever been like that outside of that community is Lewis.
See, that's the funny part, because at the other server, the one that you no longer visit, you were close talking to at least 4 of them that I know for a fact, because on the side they tell me.
Okay, what does that have to do with the reason I was actually kicked out in the first place?
Oh, that has nothing. I don't even know why you got kicked. That has nothing to do with me. Matter of fact, it does, because them motherfuckers attacked me because I used to record, and that was when I started recording you, and they all thought it was the funniest shit in the world, and it was like, oh, it was okay for me to record when Kaiser was doing his thing, but now that he's not here, now it's like a big deal. And for the record, I have not aired one thing of that because we had to talk, and from that day I said, you know what, I don't need to go there. It's not necessary. But them motherfuckers, they sitting back and they listen to my live stream, and I said I have a lot of recordings because I do. But guess what, sir? That server over there, get your heads out your asses. You ain't that great. I don't even have a third, not even close to 30% of my uploads or my recordings have anything to do with that server. And they went ape shit over that.
Welcome to a world of narcissism where people are just full of themselves and they think they're the shit and that they're the center of the universe and they get told not.
Yeah, it's funny because right now I have an issue with Captain Foreskin because he has
that guy.
he has a massive power trip over there.
Dude, name one person, just one person in that entire server that's active that is not a mod that likes him.
Oh, no, none of them. Matter of fact, put it this way, I have had at least 10 people in that server, not mods, tell me the real Captain bullshit. The one that used to get fucked with and doxxed and trolled on a regular fucking basis. That's right, motherfucker. I know it all. I know everything that happened to that stupid motherfucker, and that's why he takes that shit to the extreme. And the other motherfucker I got a problem with is Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor's bitter because every flat earther has fucking debunked everything that dumbass has said and made him look like a fucking fool. He's a mod over there now too, just because he strokes off fucking Captain Foreskin.
I mean, tell me this, like, riddle me this. When I've never seen CB engage.
Nope, he doesn't talk.
He doesn't talk. He doesn't engage. He doesn't do anything. Like, what is he there for? Where did Jim pick up this guy?
I think I can't even answer that. I have no idea. He does nothing except troll.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I've talked to him on voice.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he sound like a little like Pee Wee Herman or something? Because I imagine that.
I don't know how to describe it. Not really, but he's actually a black guy in UK.
Yeah, I call him a ghetto Smurf.
Yeah. We all know that already.
Here, I'll show you the picture that I send to him every day. I'll share it.
Me too. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's the same.
And I'm only doing it. I'm doing this to piss him off.
I would love to know where did Jim pick up this guy? Where did they meet?
Well, probably he was in Troll Team 6. Jem was there. I pretty much created that thing, and then I know that Captain Bullshit told me that his little brother became a flat earther, and he was really mad about it, and that's why he moved towards flat earthers.
Oh, so he goes into a server that likes to make pure chaos, but with science-based material on the very level of his brother. Yeah, that's a real contribution, a real tribune to his brother. You really.
I think we need to drop this crap about like globe earthers think it's okay to treat. It's like to have a set of morals versus one because they believe in a sphere and another because they think it's flat. Like you should have your morals should apply the same. You shouldn't dehumanize a group of people because they shaped the earth. I think that's really fucked up. And
I want you to think about that, Globers. When P. Mars is the voice of reason, that's how stupid you guys look.
It's bad. I was about to say I agree on that, P. Mars.
They don't accept me. They ban me too. Like I'm a conspiracy theorist. I feel like I'm more than a globe earther, even though I think the Earth is a globe, because I'm on board. I think chemtrails are real. I think vaccines are bad. I think 9/11 was done by the military and the government in America. So I mean, I believe most conspiracies.
I mean, seriously, if it wasn't for you embalming Red's Rhetoric's hangouts, they wouldn't kick you. They wouldn't. I mean, it takes you in, and
they mute me. They mute me, and they make lies up about me. Like Red's Rhetoric and them, they're happy to spread the lie that I pour They have no evidence. It's like Rez Rhetoric and Sean Hufford want to go on and on about, oh, flat earthers have no evidence.
That's because they turned into fucking money hungry motherfuckers.
But they
They
PMAR's porn bombs, but they don't have any evidence to support that. So they have no problem themselves saying things that are acting like things are true without evidence to support them. But then they want to criticize flat earthers for doing the same thing, you know. So I think they're hypocrites.
I am disappointed, especially with Reds. Well, dude, he had a woman completely fuck his world over. You guys know the story. I'm not gonna go into the gritty details. Like over the last year, he had a woman completely fuck his world over, and you know what? Without if it wasn't for her, I don't think Reds is kind of a shell of his former self now. You know, it's just shit happens. That's all I can say. Shit happens. What else can I say?
This is what I see this is what I send them every day. Well, I misspelled that. Let me spell that right. So when he gets back to him, he won't say you misspelled it.
You should make him darker, like more black.
What's that from? I know I've seen that.
It's Captain America, but it's that one dude that played Captain America. I don't know if it's a spoof. I just found it one day, and
wait, you're talking about, wait, I know exactly. I can tell by the face. It's the guy that was in the not fuck. Give me a second. Hold on. Fuck. Tony Stark. What the fuck? Not Captain America. Iron Man. Yeah, Iron Man 2. It's the Iron Man 2 guy. The guy that played the
Don Cheadle. No, it's not.
I forget his name.
It looks just like him though. Come on,
kind of does look like him.
Yeah, it does.
Channel Q put a quote up Aldous Huxley where he says the propagandist's purpose is to make one set of people forget that certain other sets of people are human, and I think that's been on full display in the globe Earth flat Earth community where, you know, if you're a flat earther and you think the Earth is flat, then other flat earthers are humans, but globe earthers are like this evil scum that you can treat like shit.
Well, here's the thing.
Right.
Here's the thing. When I first got here, it wasn't like this. Then what I saw is the globers started getting trolly or angry or dehumanizing flat earthers. And now the problem is now flat earthers are doing it to them, and now all shit's gonna break loose.
All right, here's how it laid out. The thing is, when flat earthers came on the scene, they really had no choice but to get the most vitriolic responses because they had nothing in the terms of empirical evidence. But all of a sudden, globe earthers started using YouTube monetization and Discord and merch.
Mm-hmm. Well, no. Here's the other thing.
And now this is all turned into a merch battle. It's a merch battle.
No, it's not. No, because for the upper channels, yeah. For the upper channels, yeah. But for me personally, the thing is, for me, is the main reason that it's all happened for me was the fact that I realized that to understand, even to argue this whole globe flat Earth thing, my observation is flat. Period. That's all there is to it. But I noticed that 90% of the globers arguing for the globe didn't even know what the fuck they were talking about at all.
Yeah, I mean, you get it's hard.
It's
even people who are experts, once they stray out of their field, like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like
they're too biased.
Sean, I'm gonna have to concede and admit that is true. Because you had a lot of people that did not have any kind of, not even amateur astronomy background.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get with people like me, the reason I'm the way I am is because I do have an amateur astronomy background, and I spent the last 20 years of my life understanding exactly exactly why and how the planets move across the sky as they do, why and how
Okay.
stars propagate the way they do.
Now you want to now understand this. Hang on. Now understand this.
I was not taught any of this. I learned all of
Okay,
this.
but here's the
I
problem.
have my own telescopes, I have my own cameras, and I have my own equipment.
But here's the problem now, because I personally have witnessed you sit in a server listening to someone else spew bullshit about the globe, and you did not speak up.
Okay, explain. What do they bullshit about the globe?
For instance, how the solar system works. Gravity is the biggest one, because people are, and this is my quote, and people have heard me say this 1,000 times now. Most of you guys are more confident in science than science is in itself.
Tell me what I endorsed, though. I mean,
No, not endorsed. Not endorsed. You didn't speak up. So someone would have said something like, "Gravity is fact. It's how it is. There's no other way." Well, that's not true, because there's so much about gravity that is.
You're saying because I didn't speak up about something,
yep,
I'm wrong about something?
Yes. You're part of the problem.
I think gravity is a fact.
It's not.
That's first off. That is a very mob mentality.
Okay. If Flat Earther was in here right now and said there's a dome, and I didn't speak up and say there's not a dome, and here's the reasons why, yeah, you wouldn't say that to me.
All right. Look. If you're not gonna show me what I said and what I did,
No.
like. You're trying to get me to argue against a ghost of myself in which I have no memory of.
No, I don't. It's not an argument. I was just kind of no. See, because I wasn't trying to argue about it. I was just trying to give you an example of the widespread issue.
But it's not fair. You just say you're giving me an allegation in which I have no way to argue, because I don't even have a memory to even contemplate what you're talking about.
So you don't. So you're telling me everything you've ever heard any other Globers say has been true?
False. I've heard many things Globers say being false.
And did you speak up?
Huh?
Did you speak up?
Did I? Can you please?
No, I can't be specific.
Refresh my memory.
Too
what
far.
You're talking
no,
about.
It's not. I'm not talking about a situation. I'm talking about Globers in general. This is the issue.
I just said yes. I have heard Globers say, or I'll give you the most recent fresh memory I have. Sean Hufford in one of Soundly's live hangouts, not just a week ago, was talking about the elevation in which he was in the Marriott Hotel at the 15th floor. He said it was 150 feet plus the 6 feet of Soundly's tripod. And I realized that he made a very critical mistake. It would not be 156 feet. It would be 146 feet, because the ground floor starts at 0. At 10 feet, you're on the bottom of the second floor at your feet of the second floor. It was a serious mistake. So yes, that's the most recent mistake I can say I pointed out for Globe Earther. So can you please how far back is this? Can you refresh my memory? I don't think it's fair that you just give me some very vague perception of a mistake that was made, in which I quote unquote ignored. Can you please cite the entire event so I know what's going on? Forgive my memory loss.
No, see, what you're doing is you're making it personal, but I was
I'm not making it personal. I'm not making it personal. I'm basically telling you that please don't make it to where my memory is the most.
It has nothing to do with your memory. I don't expect you to remember anything. Remember,
you're wrong. You're wrong. You were making
P-Mars, do you see where I'm coming from?
The most important thing.
You see where I'm coming from?
No, because like you mentioned gravity as an example, and gravity is a fact. Like I
No.
think you're wrong
Okay,
when you
so
say that's not.
so when someone says
I don't even know what event you're talking about.
that's not an event.
He's not talking about a specific event.
I'm just saying in general.
Chill out, Kaiser.
Okay, so
general.
So what I was talking about when I say gravity. So when you explain gravity to somebody and you say, well, every observation that we make, experiment, blah blah blah, shows gravity, correct?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
but what I don't understand is how come once you get to our solar system, it's out the window. It's no longer gravity.
I think you mean galaxy.
Nope.
What are you talking
Yeah, yes,
about?
yes, that's what I mean. I'm sorry. Yes,
What are you
galaxy.
talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about.
Talking about dark matter. Dark
Nope, not talking about that. Because I used to a lot, but what I realized is because either side has enough information about dark energy or matter, I should not be arguing it.
Well,
But
then what are you talking about? Are you talking about 3-body plus systems? What are you talking about?
that's one. I'm talking about how our Milky Way. I'm talking about how our solar system or our galaxy.
Interrupting. Chill out, Kaiser.
Laplace solved that problem
Okay.
150 years ago.
Okay. So our galaxy. Thank you for correcting me, Pimar. Our galaxy. When we observe our galaxy, what you would think what we are assumed we would see is stars flying off our galaxy because of right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
do we see that? Is that observation? Is that what we see?
Exactly. That's why you're getting into the realms and things we don't know.
Exactly. Okay. But at that point,
I salute you for that. That's the whole point of science, is to figure out things that, hey, you know how many times in the last 500 years scientists have been like, okay, we've gotten gravity wrong. You know how many times this happened? I think this is like the third time it's happened.
Okay, but here's the thing. You guys have more confidence in gravity than science does.
Yeah, I just conceded to your argument.
Well, I'm saying it. I'm talking to PMRs.
When we're talking like here on Earth, like Newton's laws of motion and stuff, they seem pretty solid, and we can do experiments that show that mass attracts mass. So
okay, but then why is it here, but anywhere else from here, don't worry about it.
Okay, or you're getting to the issues of accuracy. You're getting to the issues of accuracy. If you look back in the history of science, all of the history of science back 2,500 years, the ultimate goal of science is the converging of accuracy, getting things more accurate. Okay, so when you have something that works on a local level, that actually works on a practical level, it's not just thrown away. What you do is expand beyond it and say, okay, what can we go further than that? That's why general relativity exists. That's why it was made. It is an expansion upon what classical mechanics gave us.
Yeah, but see that
everything about science is a further convergence upon accuracy. Okay, what works on the what you would say global, the galactic level, does not work on the local level. Yes, that's true, and that's an amazing observation. It does not mean that everything on the local level is just to be discarded. It would be an absolute horrific waste of information if it were. What you do is you collect what you know on the local level and you expand upon it. That's the reason general relativity was able to be worked out and to be confirmed to be real, because of very many different experiments. Dark energy and dark matter, the way galaxies interact as far as rotation around its center. Yes, these are new age ideas and observations that need to be figured out. But you don't just cast out everything that was learned from the previous eras just because you find something that's in contradiction. You figure out why it's contradicting first, because everything before it works. That's what the whole point is. It works. If it works, that means there is some value to it in which you can incorporate it into the larger picture. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. The problem is let's talk about what it could be rather than I'm wrong, globe's right, period, you win, because it's not how it works.
That's fine. If you want to go into the realm of philosophy, that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that.
And then there's the reality that, hey, guess what? Philosophy is what got us to where we are now. You kind of have to go. You kind of have to talk about it.
Well, you're right, and I mean, if you look at how do you make a hypothesis in the first place? You look at something and you make a guess. It's all about making a guess in the beginning, is it not?
Of course, but once you make enough guesses, and the person next to you realizes that that guess is wrong, they should speak up.
That's right. That's the whole point of peer review. That's the whole That's the scientific method right there in a nutshell. If you make a guess, and you want to see if it pits against reality, you do that, and you see through experiment and measurement to see how well it holds water. And if it doesn't, you discard it. Or if you find certain parts of it that are useful, you can actually, in some cases, revise it and get the right answer. But in most cases, yeah, you do discard it because they're totally wrong.
I mean, and like I was saying, man, I'm guilty of it too. Trust me, I sit in that server, I listen to chemo talk all day long.
You watched the first Spider-Man with I can't remember the actor's name. You remember when his first he goes back to formula. You remember that? Back to formula.
I never watched Spider-Man.
Anyway, well, never mind. Sorry, you know what I'm talking about, though, Mars, right? Back to formula.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks, but most of the time, that's how it is in science. You got to go back to formula.
See, like, I think we live in a scientific dictatorship, and we are being lied to and all that shit. And I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I think, to me, the flat earthers will throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, there are some weird things, and maybe not everything adds up 100%, but you can't just like dismiss things. Like, for instance, like, flat earthers say the Cavendish experiment is not a valid experiment, but I think it is.
There are things about it that I don't get, that doesn't make sense for it. Seriously, the realization of it is how are you proving these masses attract mass, but it doesn't work that way with anything else.
Wait a minute. Mars, you actually made two problems meshed into one. Number one, the first part you were talking about, as far as science experiments, you're talking a lot of political and social sciences are like that. Psychology, yeah, they're really messed up in that era. As as far as the Cavendish experiment, the Cavendish experiment has been duplicated via atomic interferometry over 100 times in the last 10 years. And if you guys don't know anything about atomic interferometry, what it is what you think it is. You're basically using atoms, the very mass of atoms, to measure its attractiveness to each other on the atomic scale. And the results of the value of big G on atomic interferometry are absolutely confirming everything that was done with the Cavendish experiment on the macro scale.
Okay, can I ask you something?
The value of big G is what it is.
Okay, here's the problem. Okay, so an atom, they used atoms to do it, right?
Yeah.
Were they hydrogen?
It doesn't matter what atoms they
used. Well, come on, no, stop. It does matter.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It was done over. And the experiment was performed over 100 times, from Boulder, Colorado, to MIT, to Caltech, to Helsinki. It was done over 100 times, and they got the same results as the.
Okay. Now let's get. Okay. So, I'm not sure if you knew, Kaiser, and I'm not saying I have any real knowledge, but I have started. Hang on. I have started to pretty much teach myself particle physics. And the one thing I do remember, and I have learned from this, is that the reason we know what an atom looks like is because we used a hydrogen atom. Because hydrogen atoms are just big enough to actually be able to see, and then play with it. So that's why I asked if it was a hydrogen atom. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I would like to know what type of atom they use because it does matter.
Give me a second. Hold on, I'm almost done. Okay, here we go. Hold on.
Hey, P. Mars, man. Scott's my boy. Don't do that.
Okay, yeah, this is the PDF file of the culmination.
He's
of
manipulative. Don't trust him. And
who-
he's a Hollywood producer, so he's basically a pedophile.
Yeah, me and him, we're going to the top.
Well, you're talking about that dude.
No, Hollywood. Corey Feldman said Hollywood's full of pedophiles. The guy's in Hollywood. He's a pedophile.
Who are we talking about?
Casting couch M. Scott Beach, who wants he's in the
fucking
flat Earth
M.
community
Yeah,
just to fuck women and children.
Yeah,
He's a
M. Scott,
fucking
dude.
sexual deviant. And
Yeah,
he's a
M. Scott-
propagandist. And fuck you, M. Scott Beach. You fucking manipulative piece of shit. Try and put me on a guilt trip, motherfucker. I'd knock your motherfucking ass out, bitch.
All right, P. Mars, you're trying to get triggered now. Stop.
No, seriously.
No. I'm gonna tell you now, because
I've had
hey,
my
he's
experience
cool
with
with
M.
him.
Scott.
Hey, okay.
No, M.
Well,
Scott
he's
is
not
a
here.
douchebag.
He's not here, and he's my friend. So therefore, let's stop now.
I'll give you that. I'll concede that.
He's never done anything wrong to me. He's actually probably been the nicest motherfucker over at that server. So therefore, to me, I don't see it. So I'm cool with him.
Right, because you're not a threat to him. I know M. Scott Beach. He really is a manipulative son of a bitch. He really is.
The only thing I know about him is that he has a really shitty mic, and I wish he'd fix it.
But no, I do. M. Scott, dude, that guy, I don't want anything to do with that dude.
All right, guys, I'm getting kind of tired. I'm gonna end this. It's been fun. Actually, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I appreciated you guys coming on, and I hate to say it, but you're welcome to come on next time I'm on. It's kind of weird saying that. P. Mars, I told you, hey, P. Mars, as long as he's not even here anymore. He got triggered and left. All right, as long as you don't get triggered, you're more than welcome, P. Mars. Just remember that. Thank you for getting triggered or whatever happened and not doing it here. I appreciate it.
Sean, you're all right. It's really a damn shame though, because like all of us were at the non sequitur show, and they were basically hosting a Mars, come on! I was trying to end off with something good here. Look, Sean, hold on.
Is he pissed because I'm cool with Scott?
Sorry, I had a all right. Anyway, I had to mute him on another. I thought it was here, but look, Sean, we all got muted and banned for the non sequitur show because they were introducing some virtue signaling baby killer, and she was literally just on a 45-minute monologue. I can't even describe to you just the level of cringe that the non sequitur show. I mean, it's more like the SJW show. That's what it is now.
The reason here's the problem I have with that show. I for a while I was really cool with Steve, and
everybody was.
Yeah,
I was.
I remember to this day. This is why I don't like going over there. He said to everyone in his little G plus when we were mainly on G plus. He said, I don't want to talk about flat Earth. I don't care about flat Earth. I'm never doing it again. Every show is about flat Earth there.
Yeah,
it's a joke to me.
It is. Do you know what got me banned there ultimately? He had a polytheist, like like a guy that like a what they call as the people nature worshiping what do you call it? I got total brain. I'm sorry. Pagans. Yeah, he had a polytheist pagan. And he claimed that he was an atheist. A polytheist pagan claiming to believe he was an atheist. I'm like, wait a minute. How can you be an atheist when you're a polytheist?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't even know what a polytheist is.
It's somebody who believes in multiple gods.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It's like how can you believe in multiple gods and be an atheist at the same time? And I'm asking very legitimate questions.
What's called multiple personality.
Yeah, and I ultimately got banned for asking this guy this question because this guy Ocean. I was asking, the guy's name is Ocean. He's basically one of Steve McRae's little friends, and because I hurt his feelings, I got banned for it. Dude, the non sequitur show. It is an entire. It's a fab. It's a fashion. It's just some bull crap. It's meant to fail.
Yeah.
It's pathetic, man. It's absolutely pathetic. That's what I got banned for asking if a polytheist who believes in multiple gods is an atheist, because he's wanting to claim he's an atheist and a polytheist at the same time.
Well, what's up? You there? I'm about to see what's out there. Well, I'm not sure if I'm about to get sniped or if it's him.
I don't know who GM is.
I know who GM is, but I don't know if it's him or not. But I'm about to get off anyway, because he's not saying anything.
What up?
Oh, okay. It's him. What's up, man?
I had to plug in my mic.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know if it was you or not. I was like, doesn't matter at the moment.
You're not gonna snipe the chat.
No, he's my boy. Okay. Yeah, I ain't worried about him. He's cool. But do know I am in the back, watching you, P Mars. I don't know if you're angry at me or not. I'm at the gates.
What is he angry about? We're just talking.
That's his MO. He gets triggered, and put it this way, he actually is cool about it. He usually gets triggered and goes crazy, but I guess he got triggered, but he took off. So I mean, that's cool with me. He's still welcome on when he's not, but I worry about when he gets triggered and starts getting all racist and shit.
Yeah, that's dumb.
I don't think P Mars is racist.
He's trigger racist. He wants to get a rise out of people he talks to. That's about it. But yeah, man. I wish you would have jumped on earlier. It would have been funner. But I'm tired as fuck. I'm gonna go on tomorrow. And then actually, you should stop by tomorrow for sure, because I want to talk to you about your videos and shit. Because you've been putting up a pretty good thing going, and you should I think we should try to get you to go bigger, because you got that whole dual stream shit going too.
Yeah. Just fucking around, you know.
I know, that's the thing. It's like you're just fucking around, but like you don't like you got a good setup for like getting the word out.
I don't know. I only get like maybe 30 views.
We'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk. Because your ideas are good. I like your ideas. I like the way you format them and stuff. But
like tomorrow, I'm gonna work from like 5 to 10 Pacific time.
Okay, I'll hit you up on the Hangouts, and we'll bullshit real quick.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna take off. I'm hungry and I'm tired, and my son's gotta go to bed.
So I wish you well, man. I'm heading out. Good
right.
hangout. Good hangout though. Seriously.
Yeah. Kaiser, we were always cool. I have no problems with you at all. So I mean, you can come on the panels. You know, no trolley stuff. But you don't do that to me, so it's all right. P Mars, you can come on too. Just do exactly like you did tonight.
I say something.
Absolutely.
I have no problem with anyone, whatever they believe. Just like don't be a dick.
Yeah, you know? Just a respect thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like tonight with a non sequitur show. When they got somebody that's talking about things that Or like, okay, what do you do? What does how does an Amish community react to that? And how does how do you do? It's like you've got to be some perfect individual to deliver a baby. You have to be this perfect person. That alone, when somebody defines perfection in humanity, that is that is an absolute telltale sign that they are evil. It really does. When you think about it, it's like if you do something wrong in delivering your own baby, who the hell does that? That is like the most evil thing you could possibly bring upon. So, and at the same time, they're pro-abortion. That tells you about them.
That's for hey Kaiser. We'll do that another show. I'm tired. I gotta go.
I got you. There was so much stuff I wanted to talk about. Of course, I was cut off. But everybody was.
Well, now that you know, now you are welcome here as long as it's cool. And like I said, we've been cool, so I'm not really worried. But I'm on the defensive always. But I mean, you're more than welcome. If you want to come on and just rant, you can rant at any time. Just now, I'm tired. And it's hard to have three because all three of us, you, P-Mars, and me, for a fact, we're used to being on our own talking. So when you get three of us together, we're all trying to talk. So it would be better if I knew it was going to happen. Set it up better.
Hell yeah, and I gotta respect that. That you're giving as much respect. I've got to give it back. Absolutely, yeah.
And not to mention, I'm also down a screen on my one of my monitors are down, so I'm working on one less screen, and I feels awkward.
Dude, I wish you well. Yeah, I gotta go to bed. Dude, good night. And
Yes.
well.
Yep, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, peoples. I'm gonna go ahead and take off. I'm kind of tired and hungry. Gotta get my son to sleep. I'm pretty sure you guys have been hearing him in the background yelling. But with that said, hey, P-Mars, Kaiser, keep it respectful. You guys are more than welcome. Brenda, forever $50 for you to come on my panel. Q, you can come on my panel if you want. You're cool. But with that said, guys, all I'm here to do is figure shit out. I hope you're here with me. I hope you guys stop by again. Matter of fact, I'm going to go live again, but it won't be till this weekend coming up. I got some huge news about the whole me going to a council meeting about this crap. Big news on that, but I can't talk about it until the weekend. All right, y'all.
Duke wins. Fatality.